Final Fantasy XIV is a massive game with thousands of hours of content. What I'm going to do here is break down some of the major plot points for those of you who want to know more about Eorzea, but may not have time to experience it all firsthand. Today, we're diving into the story of the 24-man Stormblood raid scenario Return to Ivalice. The story begins in Kugane when the Warrior of Light, that's you if you're new, comes in contact with Lena, a reporter for the Raven. She's been waiting around hoping to run into you at the behest of Alma. Alma wants you to help her find her father, so you follow her to a ship, the Prima Vista, to hear her story. The first surprise you run into is the fact that the ship is Garlean made. Again, if you're new, the Garleans are not your friends, to put it mildly. The second surprise is the fact that the ship is the home of the majestic Imperial Theater Company, so there are no soldiers aboard this massive warship, only actors, dancers, and other performers. Originally, Emperor Solus enjoyed the theater so much that he built the Prima Vista as a portable stage for him to watch shows on the move. With them gone, now the plays are censored in a fashion to where anyone who performs unapproved material tends to disappear. However, the leader of the troupe, Genomus, Alma's father, decided to hide political criticism in his plays. His current project, the Zodiac Brave story, any of you Final Fantasy Tactics fans will know this name, is a retelling of the Garlean fairy tale, but its secret meanings got past the censors, and it became so popular that the government couldn't get rid of it, so they made it taboo to do business with the troupe, instead causing them to go broke. While that story is interesting, it has nothing to do with why Alma and Lena were looking for you, but before you can ask them to get to the point, your old friend Sid shows up to help explain things to you. He and Genomus have been friends for years, and when he found out his daughter was looking for help, Sid recommended you. There aren't very many adventurers who would help an Imperial search for her father in Garlean territory, but Sid knows that you are less likely to judge people based off of their race than others, so he figured you would be willing to hear them out. He wasn't wrong, and you agreed to the job. Since you've agreed to join the search, Alma takes you further into the ship, telling you that her father had vanished while working on the follow-up to the Zodiac Brave story. The original story followed Delita, a commoner who became a hero and formed the kingdom of Ivalice, but Genomus discovered evidence of a second hero who truly led to Delita's rise in power. That was the story that he wanted to tell. This man had been Delita's best friend until his sister was murdered and they parted ways. Despite this man still helped Delita, yet history seems to have forgotten him. While the story is a fairy tale to some, Genomus has always believed it and Ivalice were real, even back when he and Sid were in school together. So when he was run out of Garlemald, he went to where he always believed the ruins of Ivalice were buried, beneath the Dalmasca Desert. Genomus found many strange artifacts in the desert, books, crystals, and a host of other things. He believed the crystals he called Auracite would be a major part of proving his theory. The Auracite was supposedly gifts from the gods and filled with power. Genomus claimed they spoke to him, then he began to act strange, staying in his room alone and talking to himself. At least that's what Alma thought until the voices answered him and she heard. Her brother arrives in the middle of her speech and he's not happy about her getting outsiders involved in the search. The boy's name is Ramza and let's just say he's not a nice person. Fortunately, his sister is a bit smarter than he is and understands that they are foreigners who would never find their dad without a guide. Ramza would rather have Sid help them, but he can't until he's done dealing with Omega, a story that I'll cover another time. Instead, he vouches for you before heading out. Ramza apologizes, admitting that he's a bit on edge after his last trip into Rabanastre on his quest nearly got him killed. Despite the fact that the capital of Dalmasca has been turned into a death trap, Ramza is positive that his father's there, since his fascination with the legends of Ivalice has started with the tour of that very city. Sid heads off to deal with his own problems, and Ramza preps the ship to head back to Rabanastre. When you arrive in the ruins, Alma tries to head down with you, but Ramza stops her. The city is far too dangerous for her, and Genomus would never forgive him if something happened to her on his watch. The city was old, but during his studies, Genomus learned that Rabanastre was built atop an even older settlement that he believed to be Lasalia, the capital of Ivalice, and Ramza believes his father is there. You return to the shuttle to plan the expedition, never noticing the group of mercenaries waiting for Ramza. Seeing you makes them hesitate, but they still plan on proceeding with whatever they were going to do. You enter the royal city with Ramza and a few other hired hands and face off against some powerful enemies before riding a current in an underground waterway that drags you into the ruins of Lasalia. You face even stronger enemies within the ruins, and when the fighting's done, you find a strange stone as well as Ramza's father. He is shocked to see that the legendary Warrior of Light came to rescue him, but before the rescue is complete, a group of bounty hunters led by Bagamnon drop down and grab Genomus. They want the Auracite, the stone that you just found. To save Ramza's father, your terrified reporter friend hands it over. True to their word, they let him go, but not before stealing his book. With nothing left to do, you all take Genomus and head back to the ship. Sid arrives shortly before Genomus finally regains consciousness, and he dives into an explanation on how Auracite doesn't actually aid in allowing a person to get possessed by an icon like they thought, but instead steals the holder's soul, changes it, then puts it back in their body. That information will be useful, but that wasn't what Genomus was searching for. He discovered that Delilah wasn't the sole hero of the Zodiac Brave story. There were actually two others, a brother and sister named Ramza and Alma, the names that he gave to his own children. The reason he knew the truth that no one else did was because it had been passed down through his family. The world knew him as Genomus, but his true name was Arzalam Durai. His ancestor wrote the Durai Papers, which documented the truth about Ivalice and the War of the Lions. Long ago, a man named Oran Durai met both Delilah and Ramza. After Delilah became king, Oran began to work with him. He believed that the people should know about Ramza's role in the war, and he wrote it all down. Sadly, when the church found out, they burned him at the stake. The Durai Papers were never published. All copies were sealed by the church, all but the one Genomus possessed. With it, he plans on exposing the truth and restoring his family's honor. To do that, he has to translate the book from High Evolution, an ancient language that hasn't been used in generations. Until the expedition, there had been little luck with translating the work, but the artifacts found in Rabanasta helped speed up the process. Unfortunately, the book that was stolen had everything that he had learned about the language. Despite this setback, he won't give up. He will spread the truth about Ivalice and his family no matter what, even if it kills him. And that means you're going to be along for the ride. That's where we will stop for today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the next video.